You said if you buy the fall in the month of May and June, you will be laughing in the second half of this year. That comeback has happened. But what happens now? We've outperformed, we've done rather well, but the world is connected. If there is going to be an energy crisis in Europe and there is going to be a huge Fed concentrated attempt to bring demand down, I'm sure directly, indirectly, it will have impact on global growth, export demand, underlying valuations, everything in a sense gets rebooted.
Nikunj, I'm sorry, I lost you there for a moment, so only I could capture only the last part of it. If you can just summarize the question again.
I spoke to you last. Global markets and Indian markets were in middle of a strong wave of correction, and your idea that time was that you buy in the month of May. This is not the traditional May where you sell in May and go away. If you buy in the month of May, you would be handsomely rewarded. So India has done rather well, but suddenly the macro headwinds which you just referred to are only getting multiplied. So my question is that whether it is energy or whether it is interest rates, in a connected world, I'm sure it will start having impact on global growth, and growth goes down, it's bad for everybody.
Absolutely. So no denying that fact that the inflation is proving to be far more sticky in US. And if inflation is going to be sticky, then interest rates in US are going to go up. And if that happens, then worldwide there will be an environment of risk averseness. However, having said that, and obviously that will impact more directly India on the export front, but it is more exports of services front. I think India is in a different cycle, whether it is compared to in the manufacturing cycle, capex cycle, real estate cycle. We are in a far different cycle than where the world is. I think a couple of days back, Akash Prakash had also written an article saying that we are at the opposite end of the real estate cycle as compared to China. I think that's absolutely true. But that's not only the case only on the real estate, it's true on the manufacturing cycle front as well. So see, the crises are not a new thing. We have experienced so many crises. In fact, last 10 years are skewed with so many things going wrong, whether it was self-inflicted wound or something that was that emerged externally. But India has found a way to survive that and thrive in that environment. And somehow, luckily, the things seem to be falling in place for us, even in geopolitical context as well. I'm not sure how much credit should go to the government, but I am definitely enjoying the benefits of that. So in a scenario when people want to move out of China, their manufacturing supply chain, in the environment where the energy bills in the Europe are shooting through the roof, everything points to India being the only choice of manufacturing destination, which is large enough to take the kind of shift that is happening in that world. So every earthquake that is happening elsewhere in the world is leading to people looking at India even more favorably. So I am actually very, very enthused by that fact. So we are on the cusp of a manufacturing renaissance. We are on the cusp of a capex revival, and we are on the cusp of a credit growth cycle and real estate cycle in India.
Ravi, hi, this is Anisha also joining into the conversation. So given the fact that you're talking about how India is looking a bright spot, is it time now to avoid the, export dependent sectors, the likes of IT, pharma, etc., and probably look at capital goods, capex theme, etc.?
Yeah, so I will not broad brush the whole thing, but definitely at this juncture, pharma has its own challenges. And the challenges are more that the buyers in pharma are consolidated. IT definitely will face a challenge because we saw a tremendous expansion in margin and big pickup in growth. To some extent, that growth was bunched up because of COVID. And now with the COVID normalizing, some of that growth could also go away. And some of the costs that had not been there during COVID times, like travel and all, can come back. So the margins are getting impacted. So I would say IT definitely faces at least 2-3 quarters of pain in terms of margin and a little bit of slowing down of growth. Pharma has been in a challenging phase for most of the last 3-4 years, except for a few quarters during COVID, where again some amount of temporary demand spike had come. But this again, I am not saying that this is the export basket to avoid, but there are other export baskets which are actually doing well. So manufacturing exports are picking up, engineering exports are picking up, defense exports are picking up. So those are the places that one should be focused on from the exports point of view. But again, coming back, I am looking at essentially companies that are more domestically focused. If they do have a export play, well and good. But if you want to look at companies that are linked to the domestic cycle, because that is where the revival is happening.